We'll start with a story. That way, it's not a personal story. So if you miss it, you miss it. But this is your chance to get it. Many years ago, about 20, let's say 20, between 15 and 20 years ago, I was what we call an alter bacher. Alter bacher because I started learning late. I didn't start in yeshiva until I was 25. So at 25, I started in yeshiva, and about 30 maybe years old is when this story took place, which is about 20 years ago. Anyway, I was in a yeshiva, and the Rosh Yeshiva was giving a talk, and someone asked him a question during this talk. They asked him, what would things be like? What would be if the Beis HaMikdash was never destroyed? And I assume he meant either first and second, or second. But basically, what would be if the second Beis HaMikdash, as far as we know that was the second one, was never destroyed, and we would still have it? So you would think that that would be a great thing. We would have spared all these years of galut. We would have a Beis HaMikdash. We would have Hashem. We would have what we have. Now, if you're going to get a bit into more detail, we realize that the second Beis HaMikdash didn't have everything the first one did. So let's make the question the first Beis HaMikdash that had the Aron, that had the miracles, that had everything. So what would be if that first Beis HaMikdash was never destroyed? Where would we be right now? Wouldn't things be much better? We would have been spared all of the suffering, all of the hardships, all of the galut, all of the difficulties that until now we would have been spared. So you would think that would be the answer. So instead, what was the answer? The Rosh Yeshiva said that if the Beis HaMikdash was never destroyed, then we would still be stuck in that Beit HaMikdash. Now that answer, shocked me, because very, very radical and revolutionary idea. I would have always thought that the Chorban HaBayit is a terrible thing. Halabayit never happened. And here is a great Gaon in Rosh Yeshiva, saying as an answer to all of us, the students in the yeshiva and others that came to hear his talk. He was a big Gaon, and famous people came to hear him speak. And he's saying that, if the Beis HaMikdash was never destroyed, we'd be stuck in that Beis HaMikdash. Why? Because we would not be able to get the third Beis HaMikdash that we're in the middle of making and building right now. We would not be able to have that Beis HaMikdash, which is so much better, so much greater. I mean, just think about one comparison. That Beis HaMikdash is going to come down from heaven. The other two were made by Maaseh Adam. I mean, think about it. The Beis HaMikdash that's essentially coming from heaven is obviously far greater than anything we could produce. But anyway, it's not like that, because really we together produce this final Beis HaMikdash with Hashem. So the final Beis HaMikdash is really a production of a co-production of us, the Jewish people, and of course Hashem. So it's going to be a combination of our efforts, so to speak. So that's the story. And so what I think, though, it leaves us with a very strong, very, very difficult question to ask ourselves is, okay, we're getting a third Beis HaMikdash is going to be amazing, great. But why did it have to come through such a difficult journey? Many people ask, and I've asked the same question, if Hashem really wants to just give us good and loves us so much, so why does this package that Hashem wants to give us come with such a very difficult, packaging, very hard, really on the surface life that we've been living? The Jewish people are a symbol of tragedy, suffering, abuse, murder, hate. There's no worse story that exists in all of mankind, all of humanity, than what we've went through. And the Torah is not even shy about it. It says that mothers are going to cook their children, babies, and obviously we were abused by every nation that had ever been hosting us, and in every way we can imagine. So the real question is, how come all this could be happening? That's really how is it worth it? How is it going to be worth it? So again, I don't know if this is the answer everyone's looking for, but one answer I would like to say is this, that I think that the idea of suffering is a result of Hashem working with us, so to speak. Really, Hashem loves us, and Hashem wants to give us good. And at the end of the day, since this production of the Beis HaMikdash Shlishi and Olam Haba is a co-production between us and Hashem, so we have to do our part. And we could really just simply say that a lot of the suffering that we go through, and it's not, I don't want to blame ourselves, but when we go off course, so we create a new path, and we have to find our way back on course. And Hashem is ultimately working with us to get back on course. And so the hardships that we go through are this hidden, harsh, really love of Hashem. Because if Hashem really didn't love us so much, then how about He could have said many, many years ago, the first time we messed up, okay, you messed up, I'm done with you. I'll pick someone else to choose. I'll choose someone else. If you're going to keep messing up, I'll choose someone else. But the reality is that Hashem is never choosing, has never chosen, and will never choose anyone else. And that we have to ask ourselves, why not? Because He only wants us. And it's because He only wants us. And there's a place where we need to get to together, then we have to get there somehow. And sometimes it's a hard road, and sometimes it's not as hard. But that's the basically short answer as to why we go through suffering, is because, so to speak, with our free will, and when we use it to do the wrong thing, so we have to fix that somehow. You could call it punishment, you could call it a cause and effect. Either way, the root of everything we go through, whether it's good or bad, is a love that Hashem, an infinite love that Hashem has for us, more than we can measure, and a patience in that no matter how long it takes for you guys to get where you need to be, I'm with you, helping you, pushing you, guiding you. But at the end of the day, it's like a baby that you're trying to teach how to walk. If you do it for the baby's not walking. You have to sit back and let that baby struggle and fall and cry. And again, from the grown-up's perspective, we see that it's just a baby crying over falling on his diaper. The tush is not really damaged. It's fine. But we, with the mindset that we have in the world we have right now, everything seems so tragic and so terrible. But again, when we look at it, kalape, the future, when we look back on all of this, the pasuk says that we're going to really be very happy with everything we went through, because it all will have led to this unbelievable goodness that Hashem is actually trying to give us right now, and will give us when we'll be zochet to Olam Haba and Mashiach, B'ezrat Hashem. But anyway, so that's what I felt like. That's what came out. I think that we're good. It's almost 6:45 anyway, right? 37. Okay, so just a little bit more on this topic. So you can ask a question. I mean, that was very dramatic. We're going to go less dramatic right now, but you can ask a question, which is not my question, but I think a lot of people can ask it. We know that Hashem fulfills all of the mitzvahs in the Torah. It's from a Yerushalmi that I was told of the Yerushalmi. I didn't see it inside, but that's where the source is, that Hashem fulfills all the mitzvahs in the Torah. So you can ask a question. There's a pasuk in Nach that attributes the Chorban Habayit to Hashem. Chazaq even mentioned that Titus, who destroyed the Beis HaMikdash, all they did was regrind ground wheat, which is nothing. How? Why? Because really Hashem decided that the Beis HaMikdash will be destroyed, and it was just a shliach to do what Hashem wanted. So the question is, if Hashem fulfills all the mitzvot, how can He destroy the Beit HaMikdash? The pasuk says that what we are meant to do to Batei Avodah Zarah, we're not allowed to do to Hashem. We can't destroy Hashem's Beit HaMikdash. It's a mitzvah. It's asur to destroy anything in the Beit HaMikdash. So how can Hashem destroy it? That's the question. You guys appreciate that question? How can Hashem destroy the Beit HaMikdash? The Torah says you're not allowed to destroy the Beit HaMikdash. So I think the nice answer that I found in my studies is this. Basically, what kind of destruction are we talking about? When I destroy something and I destroy it, that's destruction. But look at the laws of Shabbos for a second. There's a law of stira on Shabbos. If I break down a building on Shabbos, so I'm not allowed to do it. And rabbinically, I'm sure in any case you're not allowed to do it. But biblically, what is the malacha of tearing down a house on Shabbos? When would you be biblically obligated, chayav, if you tore down a house on Shabbos? When? Stira al menat livnot, when you soter it in order to build it. That's a real malacha, because there's something there. And Hashem doesn't do things halfway. When Hashem does something, He does it fully. And the truth is, when Hashem destroyed His Beis HaMikdash, He destroyed it al menat livnot. So the truth is, we can appreciate the destruction is not the right word to use for the Chorban. What's the right word? The right word is construction. He put the Beis HaMikdash Hasheni under construction. And this fits beautifully with the first answer that we said from the Rosh Hashiva. If we wouldn't do construction on the Beis HaMikdash Hasheni, we'd be stuck there. And we wouldn't have the Beis HaMikdash that we deserve and need and want forever, for Olam Haba. And so that's the answer. Look, for example, a shul, like this beautiful shul. Imagine the Kehillah Kedoshim got now another double or triple the amount of patrons. I hope that's the right word. Then we'd have to do some construction. We might have to tear down a part of it to rebuild it bigger. So that's really what's happening. The destruction of the Beis HaMikdash is not a destruction. It's not a chorban. It's an idea of rebuilding and rebuilding better and greater. And when you fall and get back up, you get up greater. And so through the fall of the chorban, we will rise with the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi and reach a level of perfection that the world will attain, that we will attain, and a kirva with Hashem that we have never seen before. And that will make everything we go through until then more than worth it. May Hashem help us see speedily nowadays the Beit HaMikdash.